Ayahat o sag sistan kla ayahat. Kiksari ayahat. Korokchi shanyat kosani. I just said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. My name is Camille Ferguson. My Tlingit name is Siestan Kla, if you heard that. I am originally from a small island in southeast Alaska, known as Sitka, Alaska. I am Tlingit Indian, born and raised there. I represent my tribe, the Tlingit people, but today I represent all of Indian country. I work for the American Indian Alaska Native Tourism Association, which represents the 566 tribes across the nation. It's an exciting job. It's a job that I totally enjoy, and I'm here doing what I love to do best, and that's introduce Americans, Native nations to the world. And it is, how many of you have already been to a Native community in the United States? One? Which tribe?
Well, it was in the States. It was in Canada.
In Canada. Yeah. Very few people we're finding out know about the Native American cultures, and that you can go visit the Native communities. So I'm going to kind of go through a little bit of why we're doing what we're doing. Now, this is our mission. This is what drives IANTA and the 14 board members that make up the association, my board of directors. Our mission to define, introduce, grow, and sustain American Indian, Alaska Native, Native Hawaiian tourism that honors tradition and values. That's our mission. That's what we do. And so if you were to visit a native community that is part of the association, you're going to know that that's the mission that they also stand behind as well. Because one of the things that I think it's real important to share with you is our Native people want to tell their story. And the reason why you haven't heard, when you think of United States, very few people think of Native Americans. They think of New York City. They think of Disneyland. But rarely do they talk about the Chickasaw, the Miccosukee, the Tlingit, or any of the other 566 tribes. Well, that's because we are new into the industry of tourism. We're the oldest thing that America has, but yet we're their newest product that they feel that they would like to help us support in telling our story to the world of who we are and how we came to be, from our native languages, songs, and dance, and to our art. Now, we are, IANTA, the American Indian Alaska Native Tourism Association, is dedicated to the development of American Indian tourism that promotes authenticity of the cultural and the presentations of history. A lot of people have heard of the American Civil War. They read it in the history books. It's well documented. Well, what was real interesting, they had talked about the Civil War so much, but they never really gave it a thought that the Native Americans were part of that Civil War. And it wasn't until 2 years ago that there was an actual project that went, that was actually in partnership with our national parks, that actually allowed the Native Americans to be a part of, and that was to tell their story of how they were interacted with this Civil War. See, American Indians and Alaska Natives and Native Hawaiians are tied to the land and the place, and because of that, have always been a part of American history. It's just part of the history that hasn't been told. Well, you'll probably in the next few years, next 10 years, you're going to probably start hearing more about the Native Americans and part of that history as time goes on, because we're starting to tell our stories and wanting to share it with the world. Now, our association, the American Indian Alaska Native Tourism Association, as I mentioned before, represents the 566 tribes. There's not just one or two tribes in America. There's 566 federally recognized. There are also an undetermined amount of state-recognized tribes. In the state of Alaska alone, there's well over 200 tribes. Now, tell me what you think when you hear of Alaska. What tribe do you think of? Can anybody tell me? Yeah, Alaska. Yeah. What do you? Most people think of Alaska. They think of Eskimo, right? Did you know that there is not an Eskimo tribe? There isn't. There's no such thing as an Eskimo tribe. But yet the world thinks of Alaska when they think of Native people as Eskimo. Eskimo was a name given to them by non-Native people, meaning eaters of raw flesh. Well, that's a name given to them. They're the Yupik and Nupiaq, and that are located up in the northern area. In the southern area of Alaska, there's Haida, Tsimshian, Tlingit, and there are so many tribes that people don't even really know. So we're here. What we do here, or why I'm here, is because I've been participating in ITB Berlin, and so we brought a number of tribes with us to help showcase themselves, to tell their stories, so people can learn about them. If you get a chance, please come by and see our pavilion. I don't know if you'll have an opportunity to go to ITB, but if you do, come visit Native America. The pavilion's beautiful. Now, this kind of will give you an idea. You see, if you look at, this is an amazing photograph, and you can Google this map, and you can print it for yourself or just look at it. It's a map of Indian country, and it kind of shows it actually demonstrates the deterioration of Native-owned lands. If you look at this little spot right here, this is about all the land that the Native people own now, and they're on reservations. So you can kind of see our land when Native Americans had used to occupy a majority of the United States, how little we own now. But one thing that's really neat is that we are actually still promoting our cultures. Our cultures are still alive. Our language is still there. Our art is still there. And we want to share it. And one reason why we are really involved in the industry is because smaller communities or smaller villages, smaller reservations are needing to do something to help provide economic opportunities for their tribal citizens. They need to start bringing in revenues into these smaller communities so that they can sustain their communities. Well, there's an industry out there, a big industry. We can either let other people tell our stories or we can be a part of it. Well, we decided we wanted to be a part of it. We want to be part of America's #1 service export. These are big dollars. Native Americans currently only receive 3 to 5% of the total revenues and the total visitors. That's not a whole lot. We want a bigger piece of the pie, and we want people to now know that you can learn and get a great educational experience and see some of the most amazing sceneries by visiting Native American tourism destinations. Now, when you start doing the math, and it's kind of fun when I kind of put this together, direct spending by residents and international travelers in the United States average about $2.4 billion a day. That's $101.4 million an hour, 1.7 million a minute, and $28,154 a second is spent. We would like to, I think we could, if we really tried, and which we're doing right now, is building the infrastructure to provide an educational, cultural experience for visitors to come see Indian country. We could probably help a lot of Indian tribes and communities. So we would like to be a part of that. Now, kind of looking at, I love these pictures, so I kind of had to put a few cool pictures in there. Modern Indian with the sunglasses. But looking forward, and he's looking, so I used him to show that we're looking at the trends of the international and overseas visitors to Indian country. The trends kind of went up and down, and then we kind of bottomed out, around the 2003, 2004. And if you remember, international travelers kind of bottomed out during that time as well. And a lot of that had to do with the 9/11 incident, right? Where all kinds of traveling kind of changed a little bit. Well, IANTA started working with the international market in 2009. Well, you can see what's happened. I'd like to say we're totally responsible for it all, but actually I think we are, because we are the only entity out there that's marketing Indian country. And you can see that we had definitely had a growth spurt, and we are still growing. Currently, just this last year, we had we used to just go to ITB Berlin, but now we actually went to CITM in China. And we have IPW, which is the International PALA in the United States, that has international, it's one of the, U.S.'s largest international travel and trade markets. And then just 2 days, it seems like last week, but just two days ago, we were in Italy. And the fascination for Native American cultures is definitely there. That was why we went there. And we asked the questions of what would you want? I mean, why would you want to see Native American communities? And the reason is there are a number of visitors that come to the United States, and they already went to New York. They went to Disneyland. They've seen the beaches. They want the experience. They want to know about the Native people of America. They want to have that authentic experience. And also, the travelers now are a little higher educated, and so they really want to have that educational experience. So learning about the Native American history is definitely becoming a demand. Now, currently, this is how the market is. The European market is definitely is very large. The Asian market is growing, and South America is, decline. These are our top markets. But you can see that there's a small dip in the European market. But that also, the market's going to fluctuate up and down a little bit depending on what's going on in each country. But the overall growth is still growing. Indian country tourism is moving forward. Now, the majority of the visitors that are coming to Indian country, as you can tell, the main purpose is a vacation. So people are looking for educational experiences for their vacation. They want, and so that's kind of a nice number to look at, because that gives us an idea of who's, people aren't just coming for, they're actually spending their leisure dollars. So that they're going to be able to, contribute to the economies. Now, I think this is an important thing to know, because Indian country's not right off of, you can't just, when you plan your vacation to Indian country, majority of visitors will have to look at alternative transportations, because you'll find one tribe in the Las Vegas area. The rest of the tribes are on the outskirts. If you go to Alaska, Anchorage is the largest city. They're not all going to be in Anchorage. They're going to be all over the place. So, the modes of transportation are real important to consider, because of the fact that you yourself, normally it's the FITs or the individual travelers that will be visiting Indian country. Now, what we found was kind of interesting is the top ports, the overall travelers to the United States. If you look at these, you can see New York, Florida, California, all your major named states. But the major ports are not the same for Indian country. Arizona, Utah, Washington State, and Colorado are. So people that are visiting the United States may not go to a main port. They'll be going to other main ports of entry to the United States. And this is real important. These slides were actually put together a lot for me to take to Indian country, so I can share with other to share with other tribes that are learning about tourism. Keep in mind that we're new. A lot of tribes do not even understand what tourism is. Our association goes in and educates them on tourism. So I keep these slides available so they'll know where the majority of visitors are coming into their areas. So they'll know what states to partner with, how to market, who they are. So a lot of these slides may not pertain for you, but I just thought I'd share that with you because these are informational slides that were collected for us to help us grow the market. Now, this is what I found, I also find useful is what are the visitors like to do, compared to other places. Sightseeing, of course, shopping. Everybody likes to shop, right? But one of the new things that the U.S. Department of Commerce did is, one, they added a questionnaire, like if you were traveling to the United States and back, now they have a new questionnaire that asks you if you visited Indian country. And they always ask you what you do. If you do, please stop and fill those out because those are really important to us. But the nice thing to see that is growing is visiting cultural and ethnic heritage sites went from 16% to 54%. That is a huge jump. That in itself is telling us there is an interest in Indian country because that is what we definitely do. All these numbers have gone up that relate to Indian country. Visiting historical locations, 27 to 62%. Those are definitely numbers that are important to keep in mind as we start developing cultural tourism and the interest for Indian country. Now, this is something I had to throw in another picture. We do have a lot of really neat Native American pictures, so I have to share this. We can't do it alone, and that's why I put this here. We have to have our partners. In developing Native American cultures, we work with natives and non-natives alike. Our partners are helping us promote Indian culture, helping us perpetuate our culture, keeping our cultures alive. As you can see, when you looked at that map, you can see that our land base kind of dwindled. But Native American history, and I encourage all of you to kind of read a little bit about it. You'll understand why we are finding as many partners as we possibly can to help promote Native tourism is because it's a tool to provide economic opportunities for depressed areas, but also a way to perpetuate our culture, not preserve our culture. Preserving our culture is in a museum. Perpetuating it is keeping our art, doing our songs. The best way we can do that is sharing it and teaching others. By doing so, we're able to keep it alive. These partners are real important. Our largest partner is the Department of Interior, the United States Department of Interior. We receive a lot of our funding comes from the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and it's not regular funding, by the way. It's discretionary funding. It's what they have left over. So whatever they have left over, we'll try to utilize the best we can. And as most people realize, there's not always a lot of leftovers. But we've been working with the National Park Services. Almost everybody has heard of the Grand Canyon. That is, a place that everybody would like to go to when they come to the United States. It is breathtaking, but very, very few people hear about the Native Americans that are there. Very few people didn't even know that there were Native Americans there. Well, we partner with the national parks, and on the projects that we're doing, we are actually providing a venue where there will be a Native American interpretation center there. That's the movement that is going on. So you can see that is our partnership. I have one other real quick slide, and this is what we provide. Educational and technical resources for tourism development, research and data, creating and nurturing regional and national partners and international partners now, raising public awareness of tribal tourism, and we provide national leadership for tribal tourism. And we provide domestic and international market in order to help Indian country grow. So I'd like to also invite you, if you come to the United States and you want an educational experience, come to Sky Ute Casino. In September, we're hosting a convention there that is all on Native American tourism and tourism development. My time's ran out. That was talking fast.